Okay, friends. So we are back at home. What? Are you trying to follow your big sissies? Well, friends, we are home, which you saw in our last video. It is great to be home, but plans have changed again. But it was kind of a gnarly weekend. Okay, afternoon snack. We do frozen fruit.
That's right, Mama.
You guys have some frozen fruit with some milk on it, and Cassie just gets some thawed frozen fruit. Okay, Good Earth Sweet and Spicy is one of my favorites. It doesn't have sweetener in it, but the way it's made, it's so sweet. I don't add like honey or maple syrup to it, but it's the afternoon, so I am drinking the caffeine-free version.
What? Are you done? Nope, I am done.
Everyone enjoying their frozen fruit?
We're playing cards also. Go.
So this weekend we came home and we were supposed to get home, and that night we were gonna just be staying in the RV on our property because they were gonna stain our floors. And they came and assessed the floors and just said they needed to be sanded down a little bit more, and so they didn't start the project. Well, the next morning at 6 a.m., our phones are going off with that like emergent alarm that just gets sent to everybody's phone, and it said flash flood warning. So I pop up from my bed. Our home has been fine. We had a big storm last year that flooded all the way up to where our fire pit is, and this year it was a very different story, but our home during this flash flood was okay, was fine. We ended up bringing some dehumidifiers to our neighbors because they were not fine. We're in the country, so a few blocks away is a little bit different than in a subdivision, but our close neighbors, their entire bottom basement flooded, and they are on a creek, and it came up the hill, up their foundation, up to their home 16 inches above where their floor was. Philip was trying to do the best we could for our immediate neighbors, and so we do have dehumidifiers on hand. Once we lived in the RV, we have always had dehumidifiers, and I don't know if we would live without them. Just now that we live in a humid climate, we will be running them downstairs. We have one running underneath in our crawl space, but we will always make sure to have dehumidifiers. And we are learning a lot right now, and flood damage is one of those catastrophes that insurance doesn't cover. Okay, so out here is where we had the flood. So we did not film this weekend. It was more all hands on deck, and we were just making sure everybody was okay, from our family to our neighbors to our further neighbors. The flood came all the way up into the garden and kind of took out a little bit of our bottom half of our garden, but it was a really it was a big sign to tell us how safe our home was from floods. I think our area got 12 inches. Our area got 14 inches. Our friends that we're going to talk about in just a second, they got 17 inches in 12 hours, and it was a Tennessee record. And I think a lot of you guys saw it on the news and reached out. We were okay, but our friends live on the border of that town, and her husband got caught running from this rush of water, and he is safe, he is home. But what I'm trying to say in that is it really struck close to home. Our friends she couldn't get a hold of her husband for 4 to 6 hours. We were all praying. It was a scary weekend. So I know a lot of people actually have reached out to us, and a lot of you guys are local, and I feel like Tennessee is known for pitching in. We're the volunteer state. Yeah, so Tennessee is known as the volunteer state, but I just always don't know, like, where do we go? Where do we volunteer? Hi.
like that.
It's 99 degrees outside.
It's really hot.
I'm gonna go push her in her toy car.
Oh, that would be fun. Okay, so my girlfriend, she's collecting money and getting all the supplies and taking it into town. This town is called Waverly. If you guys did miss it on the news, it was a complete catastrophe. People lost their lives, their homes, have lost everything. So by the time we edit this video, I'll find out if I should point you guys in her direction or if there's another resource that people are... Is the Red Cross already here?
Oh, yeah.
So trying to find...
Local YMCAs were taking most donations immediately.
Okay.
They were actually opening up the YMCA
Okay.
facility for those that had lost homes to sleep there.
I'm so many people
Just
are without
check the
homes. They're
description.
without everything. Their belongings have all been washed away.
It's 17 inches of rain
Wow.
in a 24-hour period.
Yeah.
And then you add that to...
Right. I know it got built up by the railroad tracks, and then there was a big, huge rush that got released. And so, anyways, we're going to be doing our best to give back to our community. But if you guys are local or if you have just been touched by the stories, we will try to find some links and put it down in the description below of where to give back, of just diapers and necessities and toiletries and clothing and just anything that they can do to start over. This is a flood, and it's not covered by insurance. It is, all these people are starting over, and I'm just...
One of our friends works in insurance and has been making what he says is some of the hardest phone calls of his career.
Yeah.
When you don't live in a flood zone, people don't buy flood insurance.
Right.
I mean, the water went from non-existent on the ground to 10, 12, 14 feet in the air. Even though we might have damage in our house, my issues aside, we're going to the highest and most vital needs first. And so that's why we're helping our friend fundraise for people in that direct community. It just feels like what we were trying to do when the tornado came through for Northeast Middle Tennessee, we want to try to do for the floods that came through, and to just love those that probably feel forgotten when the news cameras leave. And that's just something that's on our hearts. And so just check the description of this video to find out where you guys can give. We'll hopefully, by the time we edit this, we'll be able to figure that out and get you guys some good resources. If you guys live in Middle Tennessee, please reach out. If you guys were affected by this, please reach out. God forbid one of you guys were the ones that lost your home. We want to figure out how we can be there for you as a community.
Well, I know.
That's the big part, and that's the thing that we care about, is that we are loving our neighbors, including you.
So after people have lost their homes and lives, it feels silly to show this, but I'm trying to show that it was like rivers all the way up. So we had rivers all coming down, this whole thing. I think the river came all the way up to about here, and you can just see how debris just picks up, rushes down, and can pile up. I mean, there were cars floating down the community. It's just been a long weekend to soak in what just happened. All day we're under flash flood warnings, and we get towards the end of the day, and then we get the tornado siren warning.
I need a bucket. Holy buckets. Holy master, huge, humongous buckets.
We have not tended to our garden in a while.
Well, it's been raining for 7 days straight, and so that is a massive one. You see that?
Oh, that's what can eat your entire tomato plant in one day. That's
Yeah.
the biggest one I've ever seen.
Guy's a big guy.
So here's an example of hornworm damage. Is just that they'll just come and eat your whole tomato plant. If you can see, this is all hornworm damage. And honestly, our garden at this point, so many things at this point, they just don't matter. The guy that is doing our flooring was going to be coming back the day of the floods, and obviously everyone was just under emergency protection of themselves and their families. So the guy is coming back to do our flooring this week now, but a family member of his lost their house. It literally floated down the road, and he couldn't get to his tools, which that is your livelihood, because it was at one of the houses in that town, and it's just scary when it's so close to home. And so all of the proceeds to this video, plus more that we can give, we will be donating to our neighbors. But if you guys have any desire to give, we will be trying to point you in the right direction of that. So we had the tornado warning that night, and we are very thankful that we have been able to build this part of our home. Okay, it's locked. We'll go around. So our close friends live just a few minutes down the road, and they don't have a storm shelter. And so we've been talking with them about prepping and setting up our shelter and praying that we get a bigger heads up than we normally do, that they will have a key to our house and be able to just go straight into our storm shelter, because their home is like ours before we added this part, where it's just the one story with a little bit of a game room upstairs, and there's no place to hide from a tornado. We used to stay in our little mini powder room / laundry room that felt like there weren't any windows, and it was in the center of the room. They're the same, where they don't really have a main place to go. So we built this, and I don't know technically what are the specifications for it to be a exact storm shelter. So this section right here, this is our storm shelter / root cellar. And you can see we haven't come back since we set everybody up in here. But this was a good wake-up call of the things that we need to get set up in our storm shelter before storm season hits. So we had the flash flood warnings all day, and then our area, just a few streets up from us, we were supposed to be in the center of a tornado warning. So the whole area got the tornado warning, but where it was expected to touch down was within a handful of streets of our home. And it did not touch down. I will say that. We are very thankful. We are also thankful that we are down a hill, and it feels like that we are more protected than being in a flat open clearing from a tornado. But with the tornado that happened in 2020, everyone that I know is still very shaken from tornadoes and tornado warnings. Hence why my friend that's a few minutes down the road, like, we are actually going to be decking out this storm shelter for both of our families. We are gonna be having helmets here, food storage, water, just a bunch of emergency preparedness. And this video is more just update of where we've been this weekend and kind of where we're at. And yeah, boo. You don't want your, oh, no bow? Okay. Thank you. Hey. Do you think that's funny? Do you think that's funny? So I'm just filming, kind of catching up of where we're at. We were thinking we were gonna be back in the RV, which is the last thing I shared on our last video, but then this weekend happened, and it's been a change for everybody. Oh, you have blueberries in your neck. So we're gonna be spending the near future getting this prepared. We don't have electricity set up in this addition yet, so hopefully we'll have power soon. It won't feel as dark as it was. It was pitch black. I mean, outside looked like it was the middle of the night. It was so dark. And so we were doing puppet shows of shadow puppets on the wall, trying to distract the kids. They were getting nervous. It was very loud. And we played worship music, and we tried to distract them. Everyone stayed very calm, and it passed. Now this is like so we've been through like 4 tornado warnings in just a couple of years. And so definitely encouragement of today is for all of us to get more prepared. I remember when we were in the condo, that was always on my to-do list, and I never did it. And the fear of having that big massive earthquake hit California and not having a prepared set of water if there was any issue with your water. You know, just the simple things that all of us should be thinking about today of, do we have the things set up? Philip and I are very passionate about being prepared and trying not to do it in fear. Our life is not meant to be lived. You're so funny. Our lives are not meant to be lived in fear, but I do think we can be smart. A little tour of this room. So this is when we come downstairs. Hopefully this will be Philip's office. Hopefully one day that will be a bathroom. And then that will be our root cellar and storm shelter. So we've got the cinder blocks on all of the walls. This is a dirt hill behind this wall and that wall. And so it is as tucked into the ground and cinder blocked as we can. And you're trying to tell us something? What are you trying to tell us? Yeah. Oh. You want to get down? Where are you going? Bye. Are you on the mission? What are you trying to do? What are you doing? Are we showing our climbing skills? Okay. You want the bunny rabbit headband? Okay, and put it on. Yep. That's the way we turn. And then gonna watch a show. Oh, you're so cute. Oh, do you want to show them how you colored on the couch yesterday? Kinsley and Callie, I told them, please don't have markers in here. Take them to the kitchen table. Well, they stayed in here for a hot second, and the baby got to them. And she is strong and opens up the marker caps. But you know what? It doesn't matter. All of this doesn't matter. Stuff doesn't matter. There's so many people that have just lost loved ones, and my heart for the last handful of days was so heavy and just so broken. And the stories of losing children were heart-wrenching. So I am very thankful, and I would encourage all of you to call and hug your loved ones. Give your kids extra hugs today, because we are very blessed that we are not in agony today from losing loved ones. Why? Why are we on the coffee table?
I don't know. To get some pens. Draw on the couch again.
This is part of why I am very desperate to get this addition done, because having open stairs right here is very scary. And having a kiddo that moves more, very scary. So hopefully flooring will get done, and then railing will get done really soon after that. Can you show us getting down? Up. Well, I very much only wanted to share about what our community and our neighbors have been through, because this is nothing. But we do have a little bit of extra to do after our storm. So we found a leak, and Philip's been running our dehumidifier here. We've got a fan. I'll turn that off just so you can hopefully hear me. And so in here, all the way up to the roof, this was saturated, and it was leaking into the laundry room and into the office on the ceiling. And so we have this just open and kind of a crazy mess. Why is there a shoe? Not sure. Just a little extra on our to-do list is to get our home repaired. So because it was from the storm and it's not a flood damage and it's from the roof, by the time we pay for insurance deductible and how it would change our coverage, we might be doing some drywall and repair ourselves. Philip is actually, Cassidy, you're screaming. Philip is actually very talented. I don't know how many of the leaks we shared, but when we were in our condo, we had 5 pipe leaks. So Philip is actually super talented in drywall and getting the dehumidifier going. We can bleach out if we need to. There's no mold, which is great, so it just needs to dry out. We can paint it with kills to make sure if there's any bigger issues that we kind of lock that up and see if anything comes through. What are you going for? So we might have that other construction repair on our hands. I know in the last video I was talking about a light at the end of the tunnel, that hopefully this construction can be done soon and we don't have, you know, just construction debris on the ground all the time and kind of feeling like we can put things away. But we were always so thankful that we even had this opportunity to give a bigger living space. The biggest reason is because when we were hosting, we host a lot of families, and we have some families that have a lot of kids. And so we were starting to not have places to sit, to eat, to fellowship. So we want people to feel comfortable that they can stay here for a longer period of time. So that's why we ended up not just doing the root cellar storm shelter, which was our plan. We just were going to do a deck with a root cellar storm shelter underneath. We ended up enclosing what we were originally going to do as just a screened-in porch. So I know this video is mostly just an update on where we have been just this last weekend, but my heart has just been so heavy of what our neighbors and community have been through. And any losses are so tragic, but I don't know about you, when you hear those losses, when it includes children, it's really heart-wrenching. Again, if you guys have any desire to help out this community, there are so many things going on in the world right now. It is painful sometimes to know what is going on in the world, because it is so heavy that it feels like that you're taking on so much heaviness. For us, this is our family, this is our community, this is where we're giving. If you guys have something going on, I know that you guys have messaged me on things going on all across the country. Find out what your neighbors need, pour into each other. This is just a time for us to band together. There has been so much division and so much anger, and I just would encourage you to love on your neighbor today. So, with that being said, we are going to go get some pizza. So thank you guys so much for watching today, and we'll see you soon in our next video. Go let your love multiply. Bye, guys.